the second year of Stories to Tell sessions. And I'm happy to present a topic. All our topics have been relevant, no doubt, but this touches almost every one of us, and that is electric vehicles. So everything we need to know about electric vehicles, whether it is boon or a bane, let us see something about it. What comes first to our mind when we think of an electric vehicle? That it is a green vehicle, non-polluting, and conserves our ecosystem. And it is basically a positive, feel-good factor to hear about, even speak about, and possess an electric car. A study in Stanford by economist Tony Seba mentions that petrol and diesel powered cars will vanish within 8 years. He says that almost by 2030, there will only be electric vehicles, and these vehicles we will have to buy these because there will not be any options left. So let us see further about this. What is an electric vehicle? An electric vehicle is one that uses one or more electric motors for propulsion, and it is powered by a collector system, which we call batteries, and it runs from electricity from outside. Means you have to charge the batteries from outside. So this is a basic electric vehicle, but there are some alternatives also which are included in this definition, and that is if it is charged by solar panels, or if the car runs with fuel and some of that energy is converted to electricity and it charges the batteries. So these are some of the definitions of electric vehicles. In this discussion, we will use EV for electric vehicles, but because we are mainly talking about cars, we will mainly mention it for electric cars. And ICE word is commonly used for internal combustion engine, which generally run on petrol, diesel, CNG, and the likes. EVs are not limited to road and rail vehicles. Actually, there are water surface vehicles like ships. There are underwater vessels like submersibles and submarines. There are aircrafts and electric spaceships also. Maharshi bhai, when I put on only one thumbnail, it is you that is shown. Can it be me, please? Dhiren, can it be mandated?
Yeah, please tell me.
If I put one this thumbnail, then it is you or Maharshi bhai shown, not me, in the corner.
No, so basically you need to pin yourself. Okay, let's say I removed the pin. Now you try.
Anyway, it is you, because it masks my slide on the right side. Thank you. So we are mainly discussing about electric cars, not other EV vehicles. Historically, the first model cars, which were powered by electric motor, were made as long back as 1828. And the first small car was made in 1835. Initially, it was just a model, like a toy. But the first human carrying electric vehicle with its own power source was tested first time in Paris in 1881. So we can see the story of the electric vehicles is very, very long. There was a great interest in electric vehicles, obviously, because of obvious advantages like it did not have noise, fumes, vibrations, gear shifts, or startup delays. So cars in those days used to have these problems. Soon, electric cars did not gain much popularity because it was realized that there is a lack of good electric grid, there is a limitation of storage batteries, and the gasoline, that is the petrol, diesel, were available very easily and at a very reasonable price. And that is why in early 20th century, electric trains, general purpose commercial vehicles like trucks, forklifts, ambulances, etc. started becoming popular, but not electric cars. Electric cars had to wait some more. The impetus to development of electric cars came with development of more efficient batteries, rising costs of the fuel, realization of rapid environmental degradation, which the petrol usage does, and the worry of oil production reaching its peak and then declining. It is thought that in a few years, the oil production will reach its peak and then will start reducing. So, even though the internal combustion engine industry started preventing or did every effort to prevent the growth of the electric cars, it could not be stopped. In 1990, General Motors production of a roadworthy two-seater car called Impact actually made a great impact. And from then on, there was no looking back. Simply speaking, the electric vehicle production from, you can see this chart from 2011 to 2022, it has grown to 10 million vehicles in 1 year, 1 crore vehicles in 1 million. But compared with internal combustion cars, it is still 60 million, 6 crores per year. The components of the electric vehicle are mainly lithium-ion batteries, which have higher energy density and longer life. So these batteries require to store electricity as direct current. But our current provided by the electric grid is alternate. And that is why the alternate current has to change to DC to charge the batteries. Again, the car turns this DC DC current to AC to run the motor, because the motor requires alternating current, that is AC, and this motor runs the wheels. But what is very interesting is when we brake this vehicle while it is running, when we brake it, at that time, the motor works as a generator. So the motor now generates DC current, which charges the battery. So it is a dual type of motor. On one hand, it works as a motor, and then it also works as a generator on braking. The auxiliary battery is also required, which is of 12 volt to run the lights, music system, the car computer, power windows, etc. But car air conditioning requires 240 volts, which will be taken up from the main batteries. So these are the two types of batteries we require. The massive bulk is the main lithium batteries, which provide 240 volts. There are two ways these cars are charged. In either way, to the battery, DC current has to go. So one way is the charging stations convert the AC to DC and charge the car. So the direct DC goes to the battery. But modern cars also have AC to DC converter inside the car itself. So this is the home chargers. So at homes, we just plug in the car and our home AC current converts to DC to charge the car batteries. The charging is of 3 levels. One is simple, which comes with the car and everybody would have it, and you just have to plug it in your plug point at home. There is a box there, and from there the cord comes to the car. But it is very slow, and the full charge, 0 to 100% would take 30 to 40 hours. Now, many of our friends say that we charge it overnight and it is okay. It is okay because whatever is charged is okay for next day or two. It cannot charge 100%, 0 to 100, it cannot charge in one night. The level 2 charging is like the one which is provided in charging stations. This is 220 volts and it takes 4 to 10 hours. Yes, it does take a pretty long time. And such charging can be available at home level at a cost. I think it costs about 20 to 40,000 to install a charger of level 2. Level 3 charger is much faster. It is called direct current fast chargers, and they can charge the battery full 0 to 100% in 20 to 30 minutes. But not only it is more expensive, it also harms the battery. So the cost of charging is generally 10 rupees per every 30 units or per unit. And that is why it is about 300 to 400 rupees to charge the full battery, because the full battery requires about 30 to 40 units. And one unit gives 10 kilometers. So ultimately, simply speaking, at this rate, the charging costs us 1, maximum 2 rupees per kilometer. There is also a system of battery swapping. Battery swapping is something where you go to a station and they take away your discharge batteries, they put charge batteries, and you can go. It takes only a few minutes, almost like filling up petrol in our car. But yet it is not available in India. The life of the batteries, it is predicted. It can only be predicted because most of these new cars are here only for a few years. But if all precautions are taken, the batteries may last about 8 years or 1 lakh kilometers. What are the precautions? Avoid high temperatures. So we should not be keeping our car in sun. Sorry, but we are in India. Avoid total emptying to full 100% charge. We know that the laptop charging, the mobile charging, all, the advice is not to allow it to empty and not to charge it to 100%. Same way here, it is best kept 20 to 80% and avoid the fast charging. Level 3 charging is harmful to the battery. So this is a short video which tells almost the same things that I told you as a video.
Electric vehicles are like an automatic car. They have a forward and reverse mode. When you place the vehicle in gear and press on the accelerator pedal, these things happen. Power is converted from the DC battery to AC for the electric motor. The accelerator pedal sends a signal to the controller, which adjusts the vehicle's speed by changing the frequency of the AC power from the inverter to the motor. The motor connects and turns the wheels through a cog. When the brakes are pressed, or the car is decelerating, the motor becomes an alternator and produces power, which is sent back to the battery. And even if you've never driven an electric car, it's still relatively simple to wrap your head around its main parts. For example, instead of a gas tank, they have batteries. Instead of an engine, they have an electric motor. And instead of a tailpipe, well, they've got no tailpipe. Simple, right? But there are few other parts that an EV owner should understand. Traction battery pack. The function of the battery in an electric car is as an electrical energy storage system in the form of direct current electricity. If it gets a signal from the controller, the battery will transmit DC electrical energy to the inverter and then used to drive the motor. The type of battery used is a rechargeable battery. The inverter functions to change the direct current on the battery into an alternating current, and then this alternating current is used by an electric motor. In addition, the inverter on an electric car also has a function to change the AC current when regenerative braking to DC current and then used to recharge the battery. The charge port allows the vehicle to connect to an external power supply in order to charge the traction battery pack. There are 4 types of electric cars are available. They are battery electric vehicle, hybrid electric vehicle, plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, and fuel cell electric vehicle.
So this is what is available now. And these are the 4 types of electric vehicles. First, what we generally get is a fully electric car. But then there are 3 more. Let us see something about that. The hybrid car has a battery, but it does not have lithium. The plug-in hybrid car has lithium batteries. And the hydrogen fuel car, again, has batteries which has no lithium. So again, a very short video about these other 3 modes of electric vehicles.
Hybrid electric vehicle. These types of cars are often called standard hybrid or parallel hybrid vehicles. This type of car has both an internal combustion engine and an electric motor. In this, the internal combustion engine gets energy from the fuel, gasoline and other types of fuel, while the motor gets power from the battery. The gasoline engine and electric motor together drive the transmission, which drives the wheels. The difference between hybrid vehicles compared to battery electric vehicles is that in a hybrid the battery can only be charged by the IC engine, the speed of the wheels, or a combination of both. There is no charging port, so the battery cannot be recharged from outside of the system.
So basically a hybrid vehicle, which is fairly common or is getting available, has two types of motors, electric motor and the internal combustion engine, and both work together. The electric motor also can charge the battery, but you cannot charge these vehicles from outside. There is no plug in to charge the car.
Plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. It is a type of hybrid vehicle with both an IC engine and a motor. These types of electric cars provide a fuel option. These cars are powered by a conventional fuel, such as gasoline, or an alternative fuel, such as biodiesel, and a rechargeable battery pack. The battery can be charged electrically by plugging into an electrical outlet or electric vehicle charging station. Plug-in hybrid vehicles typically can run in at least two modes. All-electric mode, in which the motor and battery provide all the car's energy. Hybrid mode, in which both electricity and gasoline are employed. Fuel cell electric vehicle is also known as zero-emission vehicle, are types of electric cars that employ fuel cell technology to generate the electricity required to run the vehicle. In this type of vehicles, the chemical energy of the fuel is converted directly into electric energy.
So basically, we could easily see that the hydrogen fuel cell is the cleanest energy used here. Here, instead of a battery running the car, there is a cylinder of compressed hydrogen gas. And the energy stored in the hydrogen atom is converted to electricity by an electrolyte membrane, in which the electrolyte membrane, it is sandwiched between the electrodes, cathode and anode, which is positive and negative. Now, this is in some details about how electricity is generated. Basically, hydrogen is entered towards anode and oxygen is entered in cathode, and there is a membrane in between which would separate electrons. I don't think we can understand it easily. It is too complex, and I'm further simplifying it, that simply put, the hydrogen from the cylinder and oxygen from the air combine and are converted into electrons, which is electricity, which runs the car, and water. And that is why these cars give out only water vapor as exhaust. Now, there is also a hydrogen internal combustion car coming up, in which hydrogen would be used like an internal combustion engine. So in the engine, the hydrogen would be used to generate energy, and there are no harmful emissions. A gasoline combustion results in harmful carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, etc., while hydrogen combustion will produce only water vapor. So there are other advantages also. All of us know these are fully electric cars. There is lack of noise and vibration. There is lack of smell of emissions. The number of moving parts are less, and that is why there are less mechanical problems and less maintenance costs. And the acceleration is faster. It can accelerate very fast. And that is why, because there are no harmful emissions, this is considered a green car. And that is what we have felt, that this is a good car. We are all happy about it. But like everything in life, and all of us know that everything has two sides. So this also must have a second side, the downside. So let us see some downsides of electric vehicle. First, we have already seen charging. Level 1 charging is 30 to 40 hours, and even level 2 is 4 to 10 hours. Can you imagine that you are going on a highway, and even though there are enough charging points, which there are not so far, even though there are enough charging points, you will have to wait for at least 2 to 3 hours at every charging point. Cost of the car. I fully agree that many of us would not even want me to go there, but still I'm going to talk about cost of the cars. To many of us, it does matter, should matter. The usual difference of the price between same size petrol, diesel or electric vehicle is 4 to 5 lakh rupees. Here I have given, just as an example, a Nexon diesel and Nexon electric, and look at the difference, which is about 5 lakh rupees. So let us extend this calculation. So a mid-sized electric vehicle car uses 30 to 40 kilowatt batteries. Replacing them would cost 15,000 to 20,000 per kilowatt, or in short, 6 to 8 lakh rupees. Do you realize it is 50 to 60% of the car price? And the batteries will have to be replaced about every 8 years if we are very careful, which would come to almost 1 lakh rupees per year or 250 rupees per day. So this is actual cost to us. This is not depreciating the price of the car. This is actual cost to us. Now, in 8 years, the battery will require 8 lakh rupees. And that is why we may say that in 5 years, it will require 5 lakh. So there is a difference of 5 lakh in the cost of the car, plus we lose 5 lakh in 5 years. So 10 lakh rupees we lose in 10 years, in the first 5 years. Now, this is a city car. And a city car is generally used about average 20 kilometers per day. A comparable internal combustion car may use about 2 liters of petrol, and it would cost us 200 rupees. I repeat, the same amount of distance, if we have a simple petrol car, we are spending 200 rupees per day, which means the 10 lakh rupees, which we are paying more to an electric car in 5 years. This will drive an internal combustion car for 12 years. Now, here, if you think the fuel price is going to increase, but so is your 10 lakh or 13 lakh rupees, because that is also going to grow. And in this entire calculation, I have not considered the resale value or depreciation, which is faster. It falls faster than a simple petrol car, nor the insurance premium, which you might know is higher than a petrol car. So I would say it is almost like buying an expensive car in 40 lakh rupees for tax conservation. Now, how do you benefit in tax? A 40 lakh rupee car, you bring it from the agency to your home, it becomes 35 lakhs. And it reduces to almost 15 lakhs in 2 years. And one wonders, I mean, where is the tax saving? Car is not only for tax saving. Car is not only about the cost. Car is a lot of other things. It is something that you like, you love, but that is a different aspect. Here, I only touch upon the economics. Most of the EVs available, particularly in India, are not highway worthy. They are smaller. Their speed limit is about 80 kilometers. There's a lack of charging points on the way in India so far. Short distance is possible after each full charge. It would go almost 200 kilometers only, because we might say 300 from 0 to, that is 100 to 0, but we should not charge above 80 and should not let it go below 20. And that is why we may say that one charge allows the car 200 kilometers and the time consumed during every charge. So it actually is not a highway car. The technology is changing. There are better cars coming. We saw that hydrogen fuel cars, liquid cell fuels are also coming. And that is why it is possible that it will become out of date anytime. Because of these limitations, many of us, because it is costly, so we cannot say that any family will be able to afford it. And that is why mostly it is likely that it will be a second car for a family. Because in the same cost, a family can buy a bigger petrol car. So this is a second car. And in many situations, we do know that a second car is often unnecessary. We would just buy it because we want it. And that is why it is possible that it will increase the total number of vehicles on the roads unnecessarily. Now, how many total EV are there in the world today? Total number of cars in the world are 1.5 billion. Compared to that, total number of EV are about 1 to 2%. So far, there are about 16 million EV on the roads in the world. The yearly rise has slowly come to 20%. It was much less, but yearly increase in the sale is 20% compared to the previous year. And that is why if we just consider 20%, not rising, then at that rate, in next 10 years, it can hardly reach 10% of all cars. But please understand, petrol cars are also going to increase. And that is why the percentage of the car reaching 100% in 100% in 8 years seems very unfeasible. Now, next 3 points are going to highlight how EVs actually damage the environment. We have been repeatedly talking, it is a green car, green car, green car. Now let us see, how can it damage the environment? 3 things. And this is a more serious matter. One is how the extra need for electricity can be met. This consumes a lot of electricity. How the batteries are manufactured and how the used up or dead batteries have to be disposed of. Sadly, very sadly, even us, our friends, do not consider it important because this eco damage is away from us. It is hundreds, sometimes thousands of kilometers away, sometimes on a different continent. And that is why we tend to disregard this major hazard. Let us see first the increased use of electricity. Usually a household uses about 30 kilowatts hour per day, and each electric vehicle adds 12 kilowatt. It has been calculated that if all cars become electric, then the city will have 30% rise in use of electricity. There is a calculation available for USA, not for India, that if all cars in USA become EV, there will be extra need of 4,000 billion kilowatts hour per year in USA alone. Now, what is going to provide this? Today, 90% of electricity comes from three conventional sources. And that is coal burning, hydroelectricity, and nuclear power. And we know that all three damage the ecology. The first, there is smoke. Second is eco-destruction because of a lot of problems occurring because of damming of water. And the third, which at one time seemed very safe, the world has shown so many accidents that the radiation risks do exist. But we might ask, then what about solar and wind energy? Solar and wind energy today account for less than 10%. Let us just touch upon solar. And I do not want to go in details, but just simply, 1 megawatt hour is 1,000 kilowatt. To generate 1 megawatt hour electricity, we require 9,000 square meters of solar panel. So it has been calculated that a city with population about 10 lakh consumes about 3,000 megawatt hour. And this requires about 27 kilometers of solar panel, a city of 10 lakhs. Ahmedabad, where I'm living, it is considered a city of about 60 to 80 lakhs. Ahmedabad would require 200 square kilometers of solar panels if entire city has to go solar, which is more than 50% of the size of existing city. And it would cost 1 lakh crore. We are only talking about the entire electricity coming by solar. Now add 30% if all cars go electric. You can imagine where it would reach. Now these are extremes, definitely. That 100% electricity coming from solar and 100% cars going electric. But the governments, the industries think that ultimately that is our aim and that will happen. But we do see from these calculations that given the technology of today, it is impossible that we would reach. For the time being, we are still stuck with the fossil fuels. Now, manufacture of the battery. This is the saddest story, how the industries have fooled us and what happens if we do not pay attention. These are lithium batteries, and lithium is lethal, dangerous. These batteries use, besides lithium, manganese, cobalt, graphite, steel, etc. And mining of these materials have so much high environmental cost that it actually makes the electric vehicle manufacturing process more energy intensive and ecology damaging than internal combustion engine. Manufacturing plants where the lithium batteries are made, they suffer from risks like fire hazard, toxic fumes, and suspended particles in the air, which is bad. But still, what is much worse is where lithium is mined. Lithium is mined, the most highest resource of lithium is this, which is called the lithium triangle, the three countries. Plus mining is also occurring now in China, Congo, Western Australia, USA, etc. And even India has started mining lithium. Mining releases lots of toxic substances, contaminates water all around it, even air, and also generates harmful byproducts, which is lime, sulfuric acid, even including radioactive uranium. But what is still further worse is that lithium mining is water intensive. Each car that we are using has a battery which varies from 10 to 100 kilograms of lithium. Can you imagine? It is very large size and very heavy battery. This requires 30,000 to 3 lakh liters of water every car. Every car depletes 30,000 to 3 lakh liters of water. One study has been done in Chile, in one area where the mining of lithium used up 65% of entire water supply of that area. Also, the mining erodes so much of land, destroys forests, harms the wildlife and the environment. Still, what is much worse is human rights violation. Lithium mining companies exploit miners. They pay them meagerly. They do not inform them about health hazards, and they do not provide health support if these people fall sick. And very, very sadly and shockingly, child labor is rampantly used in many countries in lithium mining. Lithium poisoning can affect many organs, particularly brain, skin, intestines, kidneys, heart. And that is why basically thousands suffer and hundreds die in the process of mining of lithium. Again, why don't we see this? Why do we consider the car in our garage as a green car? Because all this happening is thousands of kilometers away from us. Now India is in the same queue. Our governments have pledged, our industries are all tuned up to increase the lithium mining. India is now the 5th largest lithium resource in the world, means it has the stock of the lithium underground, and it is going to increase mining of lithium in a big way. Sadly, the war between ecology and economy is usually won by the latter. This is the sad story about lithium. Now, further, one step further, what happens when the batteries die? They should be safely recycled. And there are industries which can safely recycle these batteries. These industries are costly, and that is exactly why that only 5% of batteries are recycled in the world. Please understand, India has no statistics for this. No studies have been done. These come from Western countries. And there also, only 5% of batteries are properly, ideally recycled. While most of the batteries go in landfilling, illegal disposal anywhere, or improper processing like burning. This happens for 95% of lithium batteries. Here I mentioned lithium, all lithium batteries. We use lithium batteries even today, day in, day out in so many gadgets. But the difference between the cars and these batteries are, cars use a very massive battery, massive, as compared to our small batteries that we use in other gadgets. Autopilot. Some of these electric cars have autopilot, and this is a recent report in Washington Times, which has mentioned 17 fatalities and 736 crashes due to autopilot, Tesla's autopilot in 1 year. The incident is increasing. Now, I'm not getting into it. This is not our subject, but that is also one side of electric vehicles. There is also a fire and explosion risk, which is, I'm going to show you a video. It is a shocking video, but it is rare. I agree, it is rare, but it can happen. This is a video worth watching. So, what we have seen is that not in running a car, but in the production and discarding a battery, the toll on ecosystem is double than standard gasoline vehicles. You can see this study, there is 23% for standard gasoline vehicle and 46% for other. And that is why all these environmental hazards. Am I audible?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, because my laptop was saying unstable network. So all these environmental hazards combine to make today's EV more harmful than the conventional internal combustion vehicles. Today's EV. And it is better to stay away from this greenwashing. Greenwashing is a new term introduced, which means basically the act of making false and misleading statements about environmental benefits of a product or practice. Now, in all this, one of my great inspiration has been Ashok Naik, who heads a research team of corporate accountability firm, which is world's very foremost and renowned institution. They challenge the multinational companies for what they are doing. She has been working there for more than 2 decades. She is my daughter, and she heads investigating these issues regarding environment, water, food system, and public health. But she particularly leads campaigns of exposing industry's interference and influence in public policy. You realize what? Industries don't just produce toxins. They don't just harm the ecology. They influence the politicians, our governments, to allow them to do that. This is her research, and she also works with UNO and WHO. With this, I conclude my talk with a few more slides. If someone were to ask me today whether I would like to buy an EV now, and I mean now means in near future, my answer would be an emphatic no, not now. I would like to wait. Better cars are bound to come, but the car today, particularly the issue of increased use of electricity and the problem of lithium, does not make this car a really environment-worthy car. Why? Because we have already in this discussion seen all these points which prove that the current technology of EV is not the ultimate solution. And that is why I'm considering this for the EVs available in India and most of the parts of the world. You may buy an EV for fun, fad, comfort, or convenience. But simply put, the EV that you bought yesterday or may buy tomorrow is an environment damaging, expensive car that is useless on highways and may become outdated anytime. Thank you, my friends.
Yeah, thank you, Tejas bhai, for excellent overview. And like you have covered both the sides. That's very important. It's not only the advantages, but you have covered the disadvantages also in great detail. So Dr. Jawar bhai is already ready with the question.
Jawar bhai ko.
Very good, very rather very simple explanation. So I could understand many of the fundamentals about the electric vehicle. I have only 4 points to put forward. Number one is, what about the two-wheeler electric vehicle, which is people are using so many. Second is that as far as I know, the diesel engines which we are using for the goods train, they actually are electric vehicle. There is a diesel which is used to create electricity, and inside is an electric vehicle. And the third one which I want to, there are 2 other points. The third point is that we are using electric railways. So what about environment? How it is happening? Because electric railways are for so many years. And the last one which I want to ask, I just forgot.
Let me answer these 3, then you can think again.
Yes.
Yeah, about two-wheelers, they still have lithium batteries. It is smaller, so we may consider the problem is smaller. But please Google and find out. Every month, there are 5 to 10 fires in two-wheelers.
Oh.
Electric two-wheelers. Are statistics.
Very
they are also not that safe. They are quiet. And see, basically, battery size nani che. The electric trains, electric grid માંથી આવે છે, એટલે એની અંદર એવી batteries નથી. See, the electricity does not charge the batteries. in the electric train. The electricity directly runs. એટલે આપણે સપોઝ લાંબા વાયર સાથે કાર લઈને ફરતા હોઈએ એના જેવું છે.
That is true, but then
1 કિલોમીટરનો તાર છે અને આપણે લઈને ફરીએ છીએ. એટલે એમાં બેટરીઝ નથી. એટલે એ આસ્પેક્ટ જે છે ને બેટરીનો આસ્પેક્ટ હાર્મિંગ ધ ઇકોસિસ્ટમ ડઝન્ટ અરાઇઝ. ઇલેક્ટ્રિસિટી જે જનરેટ કરવાની છે એ તો રહે છે જ.
that is there.
આખા ઇશ્યુની અંદર એ નાનો પોઈન્ટ છે. વધારે મોટો પોઈન્ટ ધ લિથિયમ ઇઝ અ બિગર પોઈન્ટ.
And now my sorry.
અને થર્ડ તમે કહ્યું
It is same. You have already answered the electric
yeah.
trains, right? The point is that if it is so preferable, so costly, then why municipal corporations, they are running this electrical bus, they are buying so many, they are working so well, and they claim that we have got around 50,000 vehicles and none of them has been stopped on the road, in between the road.
No.
It's working, right?
Cars, once it is, you are driving the car, they are wonderful vehicles.
No, but then
you are forgetting all the damage they are causing somewhere.
the city buses which we are using, are they not considering the cost and all this?
They have massive batteries, and actually our system should be promoting different types of public transport systems which can accommodate. You think, all of us are driving car with maximum 1.5% per car. 1.5%. I'm sure you would agree on the roads you see. You can imagine how much pollution we are, and that is why the policies of our attention should be entirely in other direction to reduce the use of vehicles, to increase the use of public vehicles.
Fundamental, yes.
Yeah, and that is why this is, and we might say that why haven't we been told? But then they don't tell us. This is all industry, polity together, and they just want to sell their vehicles. And everything that I talk to you, you with a punch of button, in next 10 minutes, all of you will be able to find out the downsides of electric vehicles.
Yeah.
And that is why I would not personally just consider that. Suppose if I'm told that you buy a car and use it, and one person in Jharkhand will die, will we use it or not? It is almost, this is the extreme civilly, but we don't consider that. એ ત્યાં છે ને, ત્યાં માંદો પડવાનો છે ને. એ ચીલીમાં કે આર્જેન્ટિનામાં માંદો પડે છે.
Right.
હાજી,
Good.
Dhiren bhai, please unmute yourself.
હાજી, ધીરેન ભાઈ. ઓકે, અલંકાર પછી પૂછો.
મારે પ્રશ્ન તો નહોતો પણ થોડુંક ક્લેરિફિકેશન હતું કે આજે પહેલી વસ્તુ કે હમણાં જ વાત થઈ ટુ વ્હીલર સ્કૂટર્સ having a lot of explosion of batteries.
Not lot of, 5 to 10 is not lot of.
5 to 10, okay. એમાં છે ને તે બેટરી જે અત્યાર સુધી આપણા vehicle manufacturers જે વાપરી છે, they can be exploded if temperature goes high. And the reason why they were using it is because they have very small space to accommodate the battery of that ampere hour. Otherwise, in lithium batteries, there are batteries now which are used in the cars, they don't explode. Okay, the one which you have shown is also of a Tesla car which exploded in California. Yes. Which was the very early phases of Tesla cars which were manufactured with that previous type of lithium batteries. And therefore,
that's why I mentioned that you can't take it as an example. This is rare and old occurrence.
And number two is lithium battery took a leap forward against other type of nickel cadmium or lead acid batteries because they had more number of cycles available in the life. They can be 1200 cycles. You can have charge discharge. So every day you can have a charge discharge and still your battery can survive for maybe like 3.5 to 4 years. Now, actually, lithium has all the hazards which you are talking about. And for sure, it is not something to go for in longer runs. But now the batteries which are available, which are being developed is one battery is like an air aluminum battery, which does not use any elements like lithium, which are.
I fully agree. That is why I said the current cars. The whole discussion is on current cars.
See, actually, lithium had, was available, which was used by electronic equipments for many years now.
Yeah. But they're
And
small.
therefore, it was picked up fast. And second is hydrogen. Now, when hydrogen fuel cells also will be available, that problem will be little less.
True. But
And
that is why we should not be buying these current cars, because they are
Today.
going to go out of date.
Today.
Yeah.
And the third and very important point, Tejas bhai, here is that, yes, it does require electricity, which is produced somewhere, which is produced by conventional fuels like coal or
burning and hydroelectric.
maybe some crude-based plants and all that. But that pollution created for generating 1 megawatt hour of electricity is at one place and used in the batteries, to charge the batteries, and the battery runs the vehicle, is less than if the same amount of power which was used with IC engines. And number two is that all this pollution, which is whatever is generated for generating bulk electricity, is not where the people are living.
અરે હોય કેવી વાત કરો સાહેબ? અરે હોય આજુબાજુમાં તમે આ માઇનિંગ ની અંદર કેટલા ગામડાઓ કેટલા શહેરોના લોકો માંદા પડીને મરી ગયા છે કેન્સરોમાં.
I know, but mining is.
અને આ બધા ડેમ્સ થાય છે સાહેબ, કેટલા વિલેજીસ we turn a blind eye, કેટલા વિલેજીસ ડિસ્ટ્રોય થયા છે, કેટલા ટાઉન્સ ડિસ્પ્લેસ થયા છે. અને કેટલા જંગલો અને વાઇલ્ડ લાઈફ ડિસ્ટ્રોય થયું છે હાઇડ્રો ઇલેક્ટ્રિક પાવર.
I fully agree with you. But think about it from the angle that 5 million people who are living in the.
એ 5 million માટે તમે 500 ને મારી ના શકો. No sir. No.
પણ
કોલ માઇન્સ એકને બી ઇન્જરી ના થવી જોઈએ ને સાહેબ.
કોલ માઇન્સમાં માણસો નથી મરી જતા.
ખોટું જ છે ને સાહેબ. એટલે શું થયું? ઇટ હેઝ ટુ બી પ્રિવેન્ટેડ ધ સેમ વે. અને આપે જે ઇલેક્ટ્રિસિટીનું કહ્યું ને, આઈ એગ્રી, એક પોઈન્ટ બરાબર છે, પણ આ ત્રણેય પોઈન્ટ પુટ ટુગેધર, મેન્યુફેક્ચરિંગ ઓફ લિથિયમ બેટરીઝ, ડિસ્કાર્ડિંગ લિથિયમ બેટરીઝ એન્ડ ઇલેક્ટ્રિસિટી પ્રોડક્શન જે છે એ બધું મળીને it really make, and it is scientific. I'll make a sumara opinion. Scientific studies have proven that they are more harmful than IC cars.
No, till that time EV cars are using lithium batteries, it is hazardous.
Yeah, yes, I agree. Alankar, please.
But EV car popularity will bring some newer batteries. Otherwise, these newer batteries will never have been developed if there was no use for them.
ના પણ સાહેબ, એટલે આમાં આ તો કોકોકોલા અને ડ્રગ્સ જેવું છે, LSD જેવું સાહેબ, કે લોકો વાપરે છે અને વાપર્યા કરશે, કારણ કે ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી એને આપણી ઉપર પુશ કરી જ રહી છે બધું. હા અલંકાર.
હું કહેતો હતો કે the presentation has been absolutely excellent. I think you have touched upon all the topics. I only am trying to bring in the external perspective to it. Speaking from US currently, I'm trying to do that, and having bought a hybrid and a plug-in hybrid cars recently, very recently within this year, I can speak something from authenticity. The other thing I'm talking about is from experience. I have purchased more than $500 million of battery per year for several years for the company that I worked. Not only that, we funded research companies in US, in Germany, and in China, Japan together, that we were paying them millions of dollars to do research on our behalf. So put that aside. From that experience I'm talking about. There are 2 or 3 things happening in the world just now. The biggest is the cooling of the, and Mr. Mallikarjun referred to it, the cooling of the batteries has changed a lot. They are not putting only external fans for pushing air through the batteries. There are a lot more heat removal processes being put inside the battery packs. That's one. The second thing that is happening is that the lithium is inherently dangerous and lithium can still explode. There are incidences when even telephones have exploded mid-air in flights and caused massive damages. Telephones left in suitcases have exploded. Telephones left under pillows while you sleep have exploded. So lithium is
Yes.
lithium is inherently dangerous. The next thing that is coming, has already come, is, just to give a finer point to some of the points, that 20 and 80%, that you cannot go below 20 and above 80, is now become a moot point in the latest batteries coming in from 2022. So they are far away from reaching India. And those batteries can go to zero and can go to 105% of the charge. And that also does not require 20, 30 hours. It requires 14, 12, 15 hours. Put it aside, because still I personally will not buy an EV. Period.
Thank you.
For all the reasons you said, plus additional reasons.
Yeah, so the Indian perspective and current perspective, a bare point I would again rub. We are talking about now and in India.
I fully understand. The next thing, just to inform your audience, is that the next level of batteries has already come, and they are going to be introduced from January 2024 in all Tesla cars. They are called sodium-ion batteries.
Okay.
And they replace lithium with pure sodium. Now, sodium also is dangerous. As you know, sodium exposed to air explodes.
It's a bomb.
Sodium has to be submerged at all the time in neutral liquids. But at the same time, it does not have the issue of mining lithium. So Tesla, who's the largest lithium consumer in the entire world today, is moving to sodium-ion batteries. The cost is going to be higher, not cheaper, because initially that producing that ionized sodium is a more expensive process and more electrically involved process. Fourth thing that has happened, that from July, from this month of 2023, Toyota has declared that they will not make an EV car.
EV car, yes.
Period.
Yes.
Yeah, they are not.
This is, I request all the friends here and tell your friends also, this you should find out from news and internet.
And they are also
pledged not to make an EV.
Yeah, they have also introduced Toyota, and I forget the name of the car that they've already introduced in Japan with a hydrogen cell. And they are introducing that car. The booking has already opened for January 2024. You can buy a hydrogen cell engine car, which has normal lead acid batteries and everything else. It just replaces the EV and the ICE engine. You just take it out and dump this engine in. It's a drop-in engine is what they have done, beautifully designed. So these are some of the things that we have to wait for.
Yeah, thank you. Yes,
we cannot go for
we have to wait. Yeah,
now the range
is we have to wait.
For example, the range of the car that you talked about is not an issue here. Teslas today can go up to 400 miles on a full charge. The 400 miles, 1.6 times, is almost 600 kilometers they can go. But that's again, still, it does not change any of the assumptions that you made. It does not change the damage to the economy, damage to the ecosystem, the cost benefit analysis, and obviously becoming, the risk of becoming obsolete pretty soon.
Thank you so much, Alankar. Wonderful inputs from a very long and respectable experience. Dhiren bhai?
Yeah, so there are no questions. So thank you very much, Tejas bhai, Dhiren bhai, and Alankar bhai for sharing their experience about the technology and telling us about what is going to come in next few years. So with that, I thank every member of every member of our Story to Tell group for the second year. And this is the last program. And thank you very much for your active participation in the sessions. So
Thank you.
Tejas bhai, would you like to say something about last few
No, this
words?
this group has been a wonderful thing. We have heard very knowledgeable talks. I just wish the attendance was more. We are almost 90 members, and attendance has been thin. We will rethink some other modality of how to continue this, and we'll let you know. So thank you for now. It is goodbye. Good and good night.
Thank you, Tejas.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.